All right, if you guys haven't seen the agenda, the first item before we officially call the meeting to order is for the mayor to read the 2014 report of municipal affairs. I'm going to forewarn you, this is an 11-page document. I'll do my best to be prompt, but we did have a lot going on in 2014. So, without further ado, here is the report of municipal affairs for 2014. The charter of the town of Chestertown states, the mayor during the first quarter of each calendar year shall report to the council the condition of municipal affairs and make such recommendations as he or she deems proper for the public good and welfare of the town. Herein is said report. Financial. The audit for the town of Chestertown for FY 2014 was presented and accepted in November 2014. For the 20th year in a row, the town received an unqualified audit indicating financial excellence. This year's audit was completed by Lindsay & Associates, LLC of Towson, Maryland. The annual audit showed the town to be in extremely strong financial condition with total net assets over liabilities in all departments of $17,374,771. Chestertown maintains a general fund surplus of over $1,212,000 that provides financial stability for the town if funds historically provided by state and county governments are reduced or disappear. Recovery from the serious recession of 2006 through 12 continued in 2014. State funds that reached record lows in the past made comebacks for the second straight year. Highway user funds were increased and local income taxes continued to recover. Real estate assessments are stable or improving. The town has maintained an excellent financial position while providing all services mandated by the community's charter. Simultaneously, the town has aggressively pursued grants whenever possible for the creation of parks, infrastructure enhancements, acquisition of new properties, and other major capital projects. During this year, the town held the tax rate to 37 cents for every $100 of assessment. The town also retained the homestead property tax credit percentage of 5%. This credit limits the increase in a homeowner's property tax bill to 5% in any given year, no matter how much their assessment has increased. Staffing. The town has 39 permanent positions for full-time employees in 4 different departments. These departments include office staff, 6, 11 street employees, 8 utilities employees, and 14 police officers. There are also 4 part-time positions within the town. 3 of these are employees at the visitor center, and the town has a part-time crossing guard. All departments are fully staffed and operating well. Moving on to activities and achievements in 2014. This was an exciting and productive year. At the first meeting of 2014, 3 newly elected council members took office. Mayor Chris Serena was sworn in by Mark Mumford, clerk of the circuit court, at the first council meeting in January. Mayor Serena then administered the oath of office to new council members Liz Gross from Ward 1 and Sam Shogay from Ward 3. The council began their work immediately, addressing economic, budgetary, and waterfront redevelopment issues. The following list highlights some of the significant developments that took place in our community in 2014. Item 1, business forums. The mayor and council held a series of public meetings, one for each commercially zoned district, in an effort to gain information about the local economy and to solicit suggestions for solutions to challenges currently facing our local businesses. Empty storefronts, including a supermarket closure at Washington Square, were at the top of the list of problems. Suggested solutions included, among others, utilizing social media for improved marketing of Chestertown and website redevelopment. The Chestertown Revitalization Task Force. In February, the council held a forum to solicit public input on the final product of the Chestertown Revitalization Task Force. Though the task force had been dissolved due to open meetings violations, the council desired to give the final report the exposure it deserved. The meeting was attended by over 100 residents, and many expressed support for the main ideas contained in the document, including 1, improving relationships between the town, Washington College, Kent County, and the business community. 2, rehabilitating Chestertown Marina and supporting the college's efforts to construct a waterfront campus on the Chester River. 3, improving directional signage throughout the town. And 4, promoting infill development at Stepney Manor and elsewhere to augment the town's existing tax base. I would state that the report actually contained dozens of recommendations for the town, college, and business community, and many of those recommendations have been implemented in the past 12 months, and we continue to work to implement more in 2015. Next issue, Chestertown Marina and public charrettes. The council outlined and proceeded with their plan for the redevelopment of Chestertown Marina. A $40,000 engineering grant had been awarded to the town by the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, and a request for proposals for the engineering work was issued by staff. The engineering contract was awarded to McCrone Inc. in May. As part of the redesign process, the mayor and council hosted 2 public charrettes. One prior to the engineering work to get ideas from the public on May 28th, and one afterwards to present the final engineering plans to the public on August 27th. The charrettes drew very large crowds, and they were both held at the service building at the marina. Ultimately, a final engineering product was approved by consensus, and work began in earnest to get the permits and funding needed to perform the rebuild of the marina. Chestertown Marina's second issue is a joint meeting with state agencies. On September 24th, 2014, representatives from the town and McCrone Inc. presented the permit proposals to the state of Maryland and federal government at a joint evaluation meeting held at the Maryland Department of Natural Resources in Annapolis. Issues discussed at this meeting included bulkhead replacement, dredging, pier extension and construction of a new public boat ramp, and the raising of the land elevation on more than half the marina property. The town's engineering plans were well received by state agency, and permitting work is currently in progress. Next issue, town website. The council put out an RFP in April for the construction of a new town website. 21 bids were received, and work was awarded to Moo Productions out of Wharton, Maryland. Councilman Sam Shogay has been working closely with Moo Productions, whose lead consultant is Francois Sullivan, on the creation of our website, with the goal of making the site user-friendly for residents and visitors alike. Our hope is that the grand unveiling of the website will be in mid-January 2015. In other words, very soon. Downtown parking. A recurring subject in the economic forums was the availability, or lack thereof, of parking in the downtown area. After listening to public concerns, the council voted to bag parking meters and allow free parking for downtown visitors. At the same time, the town created a new 50-vehicle parking lot on the 300 block of Cannon Street for employees on town property that was previously being used by the street department. The lot provides free employee parking and allows a connection to the Gilcrest Trail. A large part of the storage garage in the town yard was sacrificed to create this new lot. The town crew who built the parking lot then reorganized and cleaned up the entire yard, consolidating the street operations and selling or recycling items or equipment that were no longer needed. I will say that if anybody had a before and after picture of the yard, that was no small task. Hospital oil spill remediation plan. A public meeting was held with Shore Regional Health to discuss their plans for an oil remediation pilot program at their Brown Street location. Their plan was to inject a surfactant called Ibisol into the ground and later remove it with the remaining underground oil contaminants. The pilot study was performed, and the town is still waiting on results from the Maryland Department of the Environment. Special thanks to Mr. Bob Sipes, Utilities Manager, for his part to ensure that Chestertown's drinking water is protected for now and in the future. We're hoping to get the results, I would add, from the hospital soon, this month or next, hopefully. Charles Sumner Post. The Charles Sumner Hall had its grand reopening in June of 2014. The town had served as a pass-through entity for 3 community legacy grants through the Department of Housing and Community Development, amounting to $300,000 to help fund the rehabilitation of the building. The hall has been an excellent addition to Chestertown and is frequently utilized for lectures, musical performances, and community gatherings. Next item, Rail Trail Phase 3. The Maryland Bikeways grant funding of $168,000 for Phase 3 of the Chestertown Rail Trail project was received in 2014, and that phase of the trail was promptly completed. The council renamed the path the Gilcrest Community Trail. Phase 3 goes from Dixon Drive past Maryland 291, behind all of the High Street extended businesses, ending at the Mabel Mumford Gateway Park, which brings us to the Mabel Mumford Gateway Park. Planning and permitting for the Mabel Mumford Gateway Park was a priority in 2014. In June, a public hearing was held to solicit input from the public concerning the park's layout and design. In addition to the public hearing, the town worked diligently to obtain approvals from the Kent County Planning Commission, the adjacent neighbors, and the State Highway Administration to get all the permits necessary to begin construction. The RFP has finally been issued for the project. Bids will be opened at the end of January, and construction will begin in the spring of 2015. The park's construction will be paid for by a $155,000 grant that the town already received from the State of Maryland's Community Parks and Playgrounds program. Next item, Public Arts Master Plan. The National Endowment for the Arts gave Chestertown an Art Town grant of $25,000, matched by $25,000 from the municipality, to create a public arts master plan and provide a deposit on a children's playscape at Wilmer Park. 2 charrettes were held to get public input on the master plan, including the locations for public art, music, theater, and a children's play area, which was determined to be the most pressing need. 12 submissions were made for a playscape design, and the winning bid will be selected by a 7-member jury in January of 2015. A second NEA Art Town grant is being requested to help fund for the construction of the playscape. It is hoped that this new facility will be constructed within the next 2 years. Next item, Arts and Entertainment District application. The town resolved to apply in 2015 for an Arts and Entertainment District designation, which should stimulate the local economy and provide tax breaks for arts-related properties in town. As part of the management plan for the A&E district, the council agreed in principle to hire a part-time economic development officer to oversee the district, promote the town, and work with business owners to stimulate economic activity in Chestertown in 2015. Next item, Kent County Middle School Recreation Plan. A public hearing was held in July to discuss a proposal by the Chestertown Recreation Commission to construct a baseball field at Kent County Middle School. This discussion ultimately led to a more comprehensive recreation plan for the middle school campus that was agreed to in principle through a memorandum of understanding signed by the town of Chestertown, the Kent County Board of Education, and the Kent County Commissioners. Following this dialogue, a community parks and playgrounds grant application for campus-wide recreational improvements at the middle school was submitted by the town to Maryland DNR. Notification on the availability of funding for this project should arrive in spring of 2015. Next item, the Recreation Commission. The Recreation Commission continued to provide fun things for people of all ages to do in town. The Bocce League had another successful year at Wilmer Park, and the outdoor movies entertained hundreds of people at the foot of High Street. Wiffle ball and dodgeball were added this year as outdoor activities, along with other enjoyable events such as the Pumpkin Patch. We thank the Recreation Commission for providing Chestertown citizens with new recreational opportunities. Next item, huge controversy, the Maryland Route 20 roundabout. The State Highway Administration finished work relating to the 291 roundabout, and motorists are continuing to adjust to the changes. The State Highway Administration responded to the town's concerns about pedestrian and cyclist safety on Flatland Road by performing a pedestrian study of the costs and methods for adding bike and pedestrian amenities to this area. We are hoping that the SHA will continue this safety initiative for bicyclists and pedestrians in 2015 and beyond. Next item, solar array. Bids were opened in July for a 1.2 megawatt solar array at the Chestertown wastewater treatment plant. 12 bids were received, and the process called for the selection of finalists to move forward toward a contract through negotiation. The lowest bid was from Solar City for a 20-year power purchase agreement at 4.5 cents per kilowatt with no escalator. By contrast, our current rate is 6.8 cents, so that represents about a 33% savings right off the bat, and it's a rate that will remain flat for 20 years, so it could represent much more than a 33% savings per year. A contract was signed in November, and construction should begin in early 2015 on the solar field. In the final PPA, the size of the solar array was augmented to 1.3 megawatts to align with the town's actual electricity requirements. This PPA will represent a significant cost saving on Chestertown's electric bill for the next 2 decades, and I personally think that's one of the more underrated things that we pulled off this past year. Smart Energy Community Designation. The town is applying for Maryland Smart Energy Community Designation through the Maryland Energy Administration that will make the town eligible for grants for energy-saving initiatives. Next item, the Chestertown Police Station. The Police Station Study Committee completed their study for a creation of a new police station and presented it to the council on July 21st. Their facility study recommended 4 different sites that could be retrofitted as a new police station. One of those sites, 601 High Street, became available late in 2014. This location was a family support center run by Shared Opportunity Services, also known as SOS. SOS had made the decision due to lack of funding to close the location and dissolve their nonprofit organization. Chestertown's proposal to purchase the property was chosen from 3 submittals. and the terms of the agreement with SOS were mutually beneficial. The intention of the council is to be as helpful as possible with the current tenants in the building while the Chestertown Police Department transitions to the new facility. Next item, step pool conveyance project. The step pool conveyance project was completed in the Lamont Valley with $350,000 in funding from the Middle Chester Trust Fund, which is administered by Maryland DNR. This is a stormwater device that reduces nutrient pollution from approximately 50 acres of impervious surface in the commercial area immediately north of Route 213. Whew. Next item, sale of Satterfield Court and High Steps. The council sold Satterfield Court and the High Steps Apartments to the Delaware Valley Development Company and the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. An annual payment in lieu of taxes of $10,000 to the town will be made in perpetuity. DVDC is in the process of restoring the projects under the Maryland Rental Partnership Program with DHCD and will manage the project as affordable housing. Next item, Visitor Center and special events. The Visitor Center was open 360 days last year and had over 14,000 visitors. May was the most active month with 1,984 visitors, followed by 1,805 visitors in April. Major events in 2014 included the Chestertown Tea Party Festival, Downrigging Weekend, the 4th of July fireworks on the Chester River, the National Music Festival at Washington College, Music in the Park, the Jazz Festival, Taste of the Town, the new Harry Potter Festival, Washington College's Waterfront Festival and Parents Weekend, Winterfest Weekend, Santa's Arrival, and the always popular First Fridays programs of the DCA. One particularly unique event was the celebration of the 200th anniversary of the Battle of Cox Field. The Kent County Department of Tourism and the Kent County Historical Society worked diligently with many citizens from Chestertown, including our very own Linda Kuiper, to design, promote, and implement a full-scale reenactment that brought thousands of people to Kent County. Events in Chestertown for this weekend included sails on the Pride of Baltimore II and the parade to honor both the English and American soldiers that fought during this seminal battle in the War of 1812, the most important battle, according to most historians. Curb Appeal and DCA. The Downtown Chestertown Association's Curb Appeal program continued to beautify the town and put new energy on the street with their ideas and projects. This year it was impossible not to notice all of the beautiful holiday decorations around the community. Our thanks go out to all of the Curb Appeal volunteers, and especially to Nancy Butler and to the head of the DCA, Kristen Owen. We'd also like to thank Nancy McGuire, who stepped down at the beginning of the year after 4 years at the helm of DCA, for all of her hard work building membership in the association and promoting events and businesses in the community. Next item, Fountain Park restoration. The Garden Club and the town of Chestertown are working together to return Fountain Park to its original luster while accommodating the farmers and artisans markets at the same time. The brick walkway along High Street was widened specifically to give room to the artisans on High Street. Additionally, new sod, flower beds, trees, and walking stones were added to enhance the aesthetics of the park. Next item, farmers and artisans markets. The Farmers Market and Artisans Market in Fountain Park continue to fill the historic district with a special vitality on Saturday mornings. Our thanks to both market managers for their successful efforts. Next item, comprehensive plan update. The Chestertown Planning Commission spent many months working on the updated comprehensive plan and completed their final draft in June. The public comment period ended on December 15th. After incorporating comments from the public, the plan will be forwarded to the mayor and council. The commission should be applauded for finishing this document in such a timely manner. Next item, Margot Bailey Park. Several improvements were made at Margot Bailey Park in 2014, and the facility continues to grow in popularity. New access paths were installed that improved connectivity to both Heron Point and Rolling Road. New benches and additional landscaping were added to the dog park, and trees along the walking path that had been ravaged by Japanese beetles either recovered or were replaced. Next item, Community Legacy Grant. The town recently received word that the Sultana Education Foundation will receive a $150,000 grant in community legacy funding for 2015 to build their new educational facility at the intersection of Cannon and Cross Streets. The town is the pass-through entity for this grant application. The new building will meet LEED Platinum standards, and it is hoped that construction on this facility will begin in spring 2015. Next item, emergency room expansion at the hospital. The hospital completed its $4 million renovation and expansion of their emergency room and related facilities, and a grand opening was held in July 2014. This new and improved facility will provide top-of-the-line medical services for area residents for decades to come. Next item, Acme expansion and Kent Plaza renovations. The Cordish Company announced they had signed a long-term lease with Acme, and renovations are currently underway that will nearly double the size of the current store. In addition to the Acme expansion, additional improvements are being made at Kent Plaza, including repaving and restriping the parking lot, adding new curbs, and expanding landscaping islands at the facility. This work is well underway and should be completed in the next few months. I'd like to add thank you to our residents for your enduring patience with what has been a difficult situation there for quite a while. Next item, Redner's Warehouse Markets at Washington Square. Redner's Warehouse Markets signed a long-term lease to replace the vacant Fresh and Green store in Washington Square. Redner's will occupy over 40,000 square feet of retail space when completed. Interior renovations are currently underway, and the new store will open in 2015. With the addition of Redner's, Chestertown will have 2 large-scale grocery stores operating simultaneously for the first time in several years. Next item, Calvert Street improvements. Mayor Chris Serino, Councilman Sam Shogay, Police Chief Adrian Baker, and Town Manager Bill Ingersoll met with residents of Calvert Street and vicinity to discuss safety concerns in their neighborhood. As a result of these discussions, new speed bumps were installed in the community, and surveillance cameras are being installed in areas that need additional supervision. Next item, State Highway Administration bridge closing proposal. The SHA announced that they will be closing the Chester River Bridge for 4 to 6 weeks in the spring of 2015 for much needed painting and maintenance work. This announcement has greatly concerned many local residents, primarily due to potential negative impacts to public safety and the local economy. As a result, a task force was created consisting of representatives of the town, Kent County, and SHA. The first meeting of the task force is in January of 2015, and alternative procedures that will result in a shorter closure period will be explored. In the meantime, the SHA has pushed back the anticipated start time for maintenance work, at least tentatively, to September of 2015, and we'll see what happens. Next item, curbside recycling. The town's curbside recycling program continues to expand the number of households participating. Recycling of organic and non-organic bulk materials also continues at a high level, with the town pursuing every avenue practical for reuse or salvage. Next item, town meetings on television. James Egan continues to do a great job of getting our mayor and council meetings on air. The town also utilizes a constant contact program, Facebook page, and website at chestertown.com to provide information to the public. And I'm sure I've probably missed a couple things and a few people, but that's a pretty good summation of what happened. Here are some goals for 2015 looking forward. 1, keep taxes at the same rate while maintaining our chartered service responsibilities. 2, build out the 1.3 megawatt solar facility at the Chestertown wastewater treatment plant. 3, launch the town's new website and increase efforts to market Chestertown as a tourist destination through the use of the website and social media. 4, aggressively pursue all forms of public and private funding to complete the rebuilding of Chestertown Marina. 5, continue to work with businesses, business associations, industries, and institutions to improve the local economy and fill remaining empty storefronts. 6, join with Washington College to explore creative ways to bring more students downtown to our commercial centers and to increase student participation in town activities. 7, monitor the hospital oil recovery program and make sure that we continue to protect the drinking well fields for the town. 8, continue participation in the region-wide effort to improve water quality in the Chester River through the Middle Chester Trust Fund and other grant opportunities. 9, improve our recreation programs, expand recreational activities for all ages in Chestertown, and involve the input of our youth in the decision-making process. 10, encourage and expand recycling and all other greening efforts, increase public awareness of the need and advantages of these efforts, and continue our effort to plant trees to reach the town's 40% urban canopy goal. 11, complete the purchase of 601 High Street and begin the process of moving the Chestertown Police Force to that location. 12, complete the Mabel Mumford Gateway Park and connect it with Phase 3 of the rail trail. 13, work with the Maryland Transit Authority to clear the way for Phase 4 of the rail trail to the edge of town. 14, Apply for designation as an arts and entertainment district. Hire an economic development officer to oversee the district and stimulate economic activity in Chestertown. 15, review the planning commission's comprehensive plan when it is submitted. 16, create a new branding for Chestertown that will be incorporated into town signage. Add directional signage throughout the community. 17, pursue grants that provide solutions for storm drainage and runoff into the Chester River. 18, annex the Mabel Mumford Gateway Park and the town's wastewater treatment plant property in 2015. And lastly, number 19, work with interested community members to conceive and implement additional winter events that will stimulate economic activity in Chestertown, specifically in the historic district. Lastly, acknowledgements. I would like to take a few final moments to thank all those individuals who donated their time and talents to make Chestertown a better place in 2014. First of all, our heartfelt thanks to the Chestertown Volunteer Fire Company and the Kent Queen Anne's Rescue Squad, who freely put their own lives at risk to protect our property and loved ones. Second, a tip of the hat to the dozens of commission members, committee members, and task force members who volunteer and donate their time to help the town review applications, coordinate growth, and formulate future policy. Next, I'd like to recognize the volunteers who directly or indirectly assist the town with all of the events and activities that bring excitement, pride, and a sense of identity to Chestertown. These include individuals, local businesses, and nonprofit organizations that do what they do all year long without expecting any thanks in return. Finally, thank you to the employees of the town who carry out their jobs with pride, a sense of responsibility to our citizens, and attention to detail. While our beautiful river, historic buildings, Washington College, and the laid-back lifestyle of the Eastern Shore make Chestertown a unique and enjoyable municipality, it is the people in our community that make it a truly special place. I don't know if I have 3 more years like that in me, but we'll see what happens.
Just bullets next year.
Yeah.
You say that every year.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and open the mayor and council meeting. Looks like it's 7:58 p.m. Our first order of business in the regular meeting is to approve the minutes of the mayor and council special meeting of December 11th, 2014, and the mayor and council meeting of December 15th, 2014.
So moved to accept the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Let the record show that we unanimously approve the minutes. Next order of business is the payment of bills.
Move to pay the bills as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Let the record show that we unanimously agree to pay the bills. That brings us directly to the town manager's report. Now somebody else gets to talk.
So give the amount of money we got.
Oh, do I?
Cash
I
on
think that's only the
second
second
meeting.
That's only at the second meeting.
Yeah, takes us that long to count it up.
I'm not thinking of it every time. We got over $1 million anyway.
All right, that's good. Okay, pending from our last meeting, we had a donation request, and this is probably segue right into your speech.
Yep.
For the last item for winter things, from the People's Bank to have the Chester Grass party, and they submitted their donation request. I think they appeared before us at the December meeting. They made a request for $1,000 to help pay for the expenses for Chester Grass 2015. Beneficiaries are the backpack programs in the community food pantry and 305 plus children. The matching funds in origin would be $2,500 donation from the People's Bank. So I guess you've had time to think it over. This is the first or second request we've had on our patented donation request.
Second.
Definitely.
At least the second.
Chester Grounds, February 7th.
Seventh?
Right,
Saturday the 7th
right.
of February.
You're looking for a motion?
Yes.
I would certainly move it. It's not just that it increases the economic activity downtown, and I think it certainly does that, but it's good for the spirit of the town. Good for the young people, and makes our community more than just some place to go to work and hang your hat or something. But I think it's a worthwhile thing, and I certainly want to thank the People's Bank for going to all the trouble of putting this on each year. And any other organization would like to do it, we'll try to support them too. I'd make a motion that we accept it.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed?
One. Second thing is, SOS, we are planning, it seemed like it was a long way off at the time, but we planned on a settlement for the 601 High Street for January 9th. Seemed like another year ahead, but, we sent out letters to all the local financial institutions, and I have the bid opening. It was not a sealed bid, they were timed to come in on the same day. We had 5 proposals, all from the banks here locally. And the question was, could we get financing for a 15-year period? And basically, we had one bank out of all these that really answered that directly and without question, with no prepayment penalty also was another question that we asked. Or we asked that they state what if any there would be in the way of prepayment, because the council has an option of financing some of this, all this, or none of this. I looked them over and we've made phone calls. We have, I'll name the banks: BB&T, the People's Bank, Centerville National Bank, Chesapeake Bank and Trust, and PNC Bank, and anyone's welcome to have a copy of this. It's based on us being a nonprofit, which means that generally we would be borrowing at 66% of prime at the time. But all these banks kind of bent over backwards. You see, some went out for longer terms. The lowest one we had was from PNC for 15 years at 2.55%, but it has a call at 10 years. The second lowest was from People's Bank at 2.99 cents with no qualifications. Well, I'll say this: it's not this second lowest; it's the only one that goes out to 15 years. You can see. Now it has no prepayment either. So to me, that would be the one I would recommend to you, basically because I think once you do this, you're either going to replace it somewhere, or you may end up wanting to negotiate so that it's a building loan with interest only, and I'm sure that any of them will do that with you, for some of the changes that we might make to the police station in the future. Again, you can look these over, and we do want to settle on the 9th, so I would recommend that we make a decision tonight, but your input would be as good as mine.
Say more about PNC. It says 15 years, 2.55% with semi-annual principal installments for 10 years. So the town will be required to pay off some principal every 6 months.
Right.
But in the last 5 years, we wouldn't be required to pay off.
Well, no, that it's really like a balloon thing. At 10 years, they look at it again. So it's, and things could change.
So that's not a guaranteed rate?
No, it's not. We checked it, and that's why I like the People's Bank
And
one.
People's is fixed for 15.
It's fixed for 15 years, has no prepayment.
And there's not that much difference in percentage when you.
There are different fees with one or two of the others. But I'll tell you what, I really appreciate, any one of these loans would be fine for the town. I really appreciate these local banks. They had only a month to do it, and they have to have a board meeting, each one, to look these over. I didn't expect any problem with getting a loan. We've been pretty good to loan to in the past. But I'd say that's the one I would take if I wanted that term to be set. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think this is probably a pretty good rate over a 15-year period.
Plus the fact we don't know what's gonna happen.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't see it.
Interest rate might be 30%.
I don't see it being lower than 15.
This is for 500,000, that's the purchase price plus, the cost of dissolving the nonprofit.
Well, not really. We don't need to
Or
borrow.
SOS.
We don't need to borrow 500,000.
Right,
It's
but-
slightly less.
Will that include renovations?
No, it does not. The purchase price is, I think, $470. 470 plus a $5,000 to pay,
Right.
payment we put, it says 475, plus around 10 to close the corporation. So we're right around 690. Chief has an idea on some minor alterations to make so they can have to separate, sorry.
I said 690.
I mean, 490. Chief has some ideas of making alterations so the daycare can stay there. We've extended everybody to July 1st, and everybody seems pleased with that. And Chief has some alterations he can make and go immediately upstairs, which, by the way, the group that was upstairs has decided to move out in any case. So I think everything's falling into place. We'll leave the daycare there and work with them.
How much new equipment will the department
We're just,
need? I mean,
we're
more
really,
desks, they don't have to share desks.
We're probably our initial interest will be having a professional assessment of that. So I really can't answer the question right now, but we can function as is.
Do you have any idea how long it would, before you thought you could move after this settlement?
But I will present to you perhaps the next meeting, sort of a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 type thing. But to quickly answer the question, a couple months.
Chief and I have met with the different agencies. We did that immediately. And Chief does have a pretty good phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 plan that works with the community, that works with the tenants. This is a fantastic opportunity for us, as we talked about earlier. So we will be borrowing $500,000, but when we finally lock in, it'll be what the actual costs are, which will be less. If you want to talk about making this into a construction loan, I'm sure that they would work with us in that respect and add more to it. But as I said, Chief has a pretty unique idea of how to sort of wall this off and keep the elevators operating so we can go upstairs, have full separation. But I'll let him talk about that. Tonight we're talking about what bank you want to work with, or do you want to finance it at all?
Is it farmer waiver licensing, same?
Yep. Yep. Everyone's been extended to the end of their contract. We have the one out that, the woman's operation upstairs, which is a shore-wide thing. She wanted to move that, and I think she already had plans to do that. No, she had several offices upstairs. Yes, we toured it, like I said. It's,
I mean, look at,
Okay.
I think locking it in for 15 years at 2.99% is.
Well, you can budget for it every year, too.
Right, yeah.
I could imagine at the end of 10 years, and you don't know what the interest rate's gonna be.
Right.
We might be in budget concerns, too.
So, do you need a motion?
yes.
I move that we accept the proposal from the People's Bank for financing of the purchase of 601 High Street.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Any opposed?
Okay, well, big night.
Next item.
Big night for people.
Big night for People's Bank, lucky they had.
I'm gonna go, thanks for the donation, thanks for the business, appreciate it.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thanks.
The next thing I had was really more appropriate for the mayor to go over because it was received, I guess, in the last few days.
Did you cover this High Street settlement date
Yeah.
Yeah,
within that
our
conversation?
our attempt is to settle on Friday.
Okay. Yeah, this is, why don't I just add this tomorrow? Is this, do you have other things besides?
I'm done, I'm done.
Okay, that brings us to the mayor's report. I will start with this. Right before New Year's, we did receive notice that there will be a public hearing to consider different issues pertaining to the SHA proposed bridge closure. The hearing will be on January 21st, 2015 at 9 o'clock in the Commissioner's Hearing Room at 400 High Street, Chestertown.
That's 9 a.m.?
9 a.m., January 21st, 2015. Why don't I just read this? This might need to just read stuff. This is a lot shorter. Dear property owner, the Joint Kent-Queen Anne's Task Force on the Chester River Bridge will be holding a public hearing on January 21st, 2015 at 9 a.m. in the Commissioner's Hearing Room, 400 High Street, Chestertown, Maryland. The purpose of the hearing will be to discuss the plans of the State Highway Administration to close the drawbridge span of the bridge over the Chester River, connecting Queen Anne's County at Kingstown, Maryland, to Kent County at Chestertown, Maryland. The plan currently calls for a complete closing of the bridge to highway traffic for 3 to 4 weeks. The public hearing will consider numerous issues, including health, public safety response times, and service interferences, and will consider a proposal to permanently close the drawbridge function of the bridge, thereby converting the bridge to a vehicular traffic-only operation. You're receiving this notice because your property abuts the Chester River. Notices will be placed in newspapers and on county web pages. And if you want any further information or assistance, you can contact the County Commissioner's Office at 410-778-4600. So that's kind of a big deal. Closing that bridge permanently, it's an interesting concept. It will certainly allow them not to have to close it for 4 to 6 weeks, but it'll be interesting to see who comes out from upriver of the bridge. I would think there'll be some interesting opinions on that. Okay, Christmas decoration contest. That's what many of you came to hear.
All the winners are.
Is this year's stuff?
Yes, seek and letters for you to sign.
Okay, in the first ward, first place, $50 coming your way. Kenneth Fisher, 211 Bertrand Road. Second place, receiving $25, David and Cinda Sobers, 5 Byford Court. In the second ward, we have Dr. Robert Wilson at 221 Mount Vernon Avenue coming in first place with $50. And the second place winner, William and Heidi Cochran, 108 Spring Street, $25. In the third ward, for $50, first prize, we have Eric and Patricia Kirby, 227 Devon Drive. And in second place at $25, Donna and Charles McNeil, of 115 Trafford Drive. And in the fourth ward, first place, $50, Dr. Harry Hart, 201 Glen Street, who totally goes all out every year.
Every year he adds something else. I
It's
expect to see a furnace.
Unreal.
or
It's like
something.
quarters for Christmas decorations. And second prize, $25, Patricia Williams, 5 Schooner Way, Chestertown Landing Apartments. And then I was supposed to do commercial venues all around town. I have to say, in driving around, there really weren't a whole lot of commercially decorated buildings outside of downtown. So I'm just gonna pick the 2 that I thought were the best. In first place would definitely be People's Bank. I don't know if they're still up, but it was pretty wild. And there were a lot of contenders for second place, but I would like to go with Chestertown Natural Foods. I would like to say that, especially downtown, a lot of our business owners really stepped up to the plate. And I thought, in general, between the town decorations and the businesses doing their own thing, town looked really, really sharp this winter. So thank you for everyone that participated, but those will be the 2 winners in the commercial category. All right, that brings me to the I-sign preliminary discussion. What's that?
You got it.
Sorry, I missed one. Hearing for license to sell beer and wine for the Chester River Wine and Cheese Company at 117 South Cross Street. That's the new business that's going in right on the corner there where the Lemon Leaf used to be. The application has been made and the hearing will be on January 20th, 2015 at 6 o'clock at the County Commissioner's hearing room at 400 High Street. So if anyone wants to go support those guys, I know that it's been an interesting process for them, but hopefully that will continue to move them in the right direction so they can open up shop. Next order of business, I-sign preliminary discussion. I mentioned this really briefly at our last meeting. What I'd like to do tonight is just kind of lay out a plan for what I'd like to do, and that is I would really like to make a decision on what we're going to do about the I-sign at our first meeting in February. I'm saying it now so it gives everybody that wants to come to that meeting and state their piece a month to think about it. Between now and the first meeting in February, I will probably be meeting with, at the very least, Kristen Owen of the Downtown Chestertown Association and hopefully other officers in DCA right now. I'd already gotten a request from Nancy McGuire, the former head of DCA, to meet with me to give her thoughts on the issue. And I would like to invite them to come to that meeting in February and kind of maybe give us the origin of how the sign originated, what the thought process was, and what we hoped it would accomplish, kind of assess its performance. I think we all are pretty in agreement that it hasn't worked particularly well, but it's also been sitting blank now for at least a year, and I'm gonna say probably a year and a half. And for me, I don't think a lot of people realize the town really doesn't own that sign. That sign is owned by DCA, but the problem is that when people complain about it, they come directly to me. And after a year, I'm tired of making excuses for the sign, and I'd like to see something.
I don't think it ever worked for it.
I agree.
I didn't see it. Didn't read it.
So think about, if it was up to you guys, what would you like to see happen? And I think what we'll do is have the former officers of DCA kind of give the history of the sign, ask the current officers of DCA what their thoughts are, and then we can give them our feedback and then come to some sort of consensus. But we need to decide on a plan of action. As I see it, there's three things that can happen. We could fix it and leave it right where it is. We could move it and fix it. Or we could just say it hasn't worked and we can get rid of it and donate it to somebody who's sell it.
Does anybody know who pays the electric bill for it?
I don't know. I do know that it's not the town.
Buzzing
So stop
away.
complaining to me about the
Power's
taxpayer
still on.
money going.
I doubt if it's very much, though, those things don't
Maybe not.
How much did it cost in the first place?
It wasn't cheap. It was purchased by a grant that Bernadette Bowman at the County Department of Tourism helped the town get. So
What's the DCA get?
those are the kinds, the DCA. Those are the kinds of details that I would like them to come tell us about, so that everybody is clear on who was really pushing that sign and what
Well, when
happened.
they brought the suggestion in, I had a place that I thought it should go, and I stated it did, but it didn't go, then I'm gonna state it. but it
Okay.
didn't.
Well, you will have your day in the sun. So, is everybody comfortable with that plan, or does anyone?
First meeting in February.
First meeting in February is when I'd like to come up with a plan. But does that sound amenable to everybody? Okay, so that's the plan.
I mean, does it have to be so long? It seems like a pretty quick.
Well, Liz is gonna be out of town. I don't know, there could be a lot of drama with this. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I know that something has to happen. So I just would like to give everybody plenty of time to think about what they wanna say and be prepared.
It would also be good if somebody has any idea as to actually why it hasn't worked. Is it because it's too exposed where it's located? You know,
Well, that's one.
that
one
would
part.
enter into a decision of, well, do we keep it and just put it somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm also hoping that the month we get, like, if DCA wanted to talk about this at one of their meetings between now and then, I don't know when their meetings are scheduled, so it would give them an opportunity to discuss it internally so that they come to us.
I know they've already had that discussion at least once in the
Yeah.
DCA.
Okay. Last thing on my agenda for the mayor's report is that our next meeting will not be held Monday, the 19th, but Tuesday, January 20th, because of the Martin Luther King holiday, so make a note of that on your calendars. And that's it. So moving on to board reports, why don't we start with Elizabeth?
Well, I haven't got a whole lot from the first board per se, but I do want to introduce something that I'm really, really excited about that's been going on in town recently that I've only just found out about, and I don't think it's widely known. It's a private group of business people here in town, all of them fine craft or artisans, very high quality. And they are doing as a group so much to promote this town behind the scenes that we don't know about. So they are 5 artists. They are Bob Ortiz, Dave and Patty Hagelin, Rob Lee, the metal sculptor, Marilyn Schumann, sculptress, and Faith Wilson. Plus two galleries, the Carl Masonian Gallery and River Arts. And they call themselves Arts at Chestertown. And what they're doing to promote the fine arts galleries in this town is just incredible. And they have been all along doing most of it out of their pockets. So coming up in February is the biggest fine craft and art show in this country, probably in the world. The American Craft Council show in Baltimore in February. There's a wholesale, 3 days of wholesale and 3 days of retail. This show attracts over 100,000 visitors in Baltimore. And this group, Arts in Chestertown, instead of having individual little 5x6, I think they are, booths, they have banded together and they have paid thousands of dollars for a big 20-foot by 30-foot booth, which will have a huge banner on it, which they're also paying for, saying Arts at Chestertown, rather than their individual names all splashed all over the place. They have engaged our own Jim Doucette to write an article for the American Craft Council's bi-monthly magazine. Now, the magazine regularly features communities and arts in communities, but mostly they're much larger ones. I'm going to pass this one around. This is the current issue, and it's a feature, 4 pages with photos on Knoxville, Tennessee. So you can take a look at that. And in addition, the Arts in Chestertown are taking out this really nice half-page ad in that magazine. That magazine will be given free to every one of 100,000 plus visitors to the Arts Council show in Baltimore. Plus, it goes to an even bigger mailing list across the country. So they've arranged for this article, which Jim Doucette has been submitted and it will appear very soon, and they've taken the ad. They also are quarterly doing full-page ads, again, you know, at their expense, in What's Up Eastern Shore magazine, so I have that too. And they've told me that they are really excited and really want to see us push that arts and entertainment district designation. They have a website, www.artatchestertown.com. And I'm coming to all this with a request on their behalf. They would like to have printed some large format postcards that they could distribute both at the show if they can get them done in time. But they're all going to shows all the time. They can use them to promote Chestertown. The estimate that I've been given is that it'll cost about $500 to produce 5,000 of these cards, one side in color. The other side would be black and white with a map of Chestertown, marking out where a lot of our galleries and arts and crafts businesses are. And I think they're feeling stretched pretty thin on what they've been spending for this effort, and I think it would be a nice gesture if the town could contribute to just printing of this card that they would use, again, to promote town.
Is this gonna be the card that they print? What?
I suppose it would be based something like that, or it might be more general, I'm not sure. But if you've seen the kind of cards that Carla Massoni has printed up to promote shows at her gallery, it would be something along those lines. It's bigger than, it'd be about this size, as opposed to a postcard. That's my request. I forget what our threshold was for written, for applicant, was it $500?
I think it was 500, actually.
Well, make it $499.
I see
300.
the,
300.
I see the Kent County,
The Kent
Maryland.
Kent County, Maryland, Bernadette's office has given them a small amount of funding for those What's Up Eastern Shore ads.
Okay.
But it's quite a small
If
proportion.
we pay for the cards, though, we'll be the only people in the card, right?
Other than themselves, yeah. I would think, I haven't discussed those details.
When is their show here?
Hold on, I have it here. It is February it's the middle of February. The first 3 days are wholesale and the second 3 days are for retail.
The idea is they want these cards to distribute at the show.
They would like to have them, but if not, I mean, they're all going to shows all the time. So it would be, and they put them at the visitor center.
Did you talk to them about filling an application?
No, because this only just came up yesterday.
I mean, the whole idea with that application was to prevent people from.
I can
coming in here and
certainly-
vote on the same
I
night.
can certainly, no, I'm not asking that we should do that. I can certainly turn around and ask them to fill in the form. I'll get it blank.
Yeah, let's do
And
that.
drop it up.
And you can call and say that you introduced it tonight.
Yeah,
I'd also like to see all of our artists listed on it. We have Pam Foss.
yeah. I think these are the ones that have been putting the money in to date.
But the
Um,
town, this would be
right.
money
I think they
paid
will
by the
be,
town.
they will be on the map. I'm pretty sure that's the agreement. That they would feature many more than the 5 that have founded this group on the map. The other thing is that it
I'd
really,
like, kinda like to see what we're buying though. I mean,
Yeah.
if they could come up with a format and bring it in here with an
Mock-up.
application.
yeah, I'll suggest that.
Might segue well in with your arts, application
Really would.
or an expense as part of that.
You know, the Haglunds have been nominated again for the Mitchell Award. I don't know when that's going to be announced. They won it once or twice already.
2013.
I will say, we're probably gonna have to start having preliminary talks about actually creating a line item in the budget for things just like that. Especially,
Yeah, I think it's 10,000.
Yeah.
We did that last year, but you know, as we get more sophisticated, we are gonna have to,
right,
when this thing's sort of out of the box,
Yeah.
we need to try to leave a little bit more each year in that, because things like this come up and there are opportunities, really.
They have really spent a lot, and they're doing,
I like that proposal that you went through with this. You fill it out,
right.
you're sincere about it, don't just come
Is
in
that
here looking
form
for anything.
online? Is that on the website?
I'll send it.
Yeah, I
It's
can't
in my-
remember if
it's
it
in
is
my
or not, to be
computer.
honest with you.
It's right on my
Yeah,
desk.
so if you drop it off tomorrow.
is this gonna be us, the final,
Since that's the current issue, so the next one that comes out, which is almost, do you know yet, Jim, when it's coming out?
I don't know the exact date.
Certainly by the end of January.
so we'll have a nice 4-page spread?
4-page spread on.
How many words?
There was 1250, I think, with captions.
And there's number of
Probably
photos in
eight
there.
photographs, double spread.
Hmm,
They're intense.
That's great. All right.
I mean, it'd be interesting, I mean, these people are even thinking, well, maybe other groups, like say, you had a few restaurants that could get together and do a similar thing, and it would be dining in Chestertown, or, you know, some shops of certain types, you know. There's a model that I think could work really well.
Well, we have a new website that's gonna be launched too.
Mhm.
We have all our businesses on that.
Right.
So they can put in their ad, visit
Shout out to
the
all the
website.
So what's our plan of action? Get-
So
fill
I
out
will get the
form.
form from Bill and drop it off to people concerned tomorrow, and then it'll be up to them to get back. And I'll say that you would like to have a mock-up of what it is they intend to print. And, I mean, that was a pretty back-of-the-envelope estimate, so they probably should
Yeah.
get, something, when they have a mock-up, they'll be able to get a much more precise one. Okay?
All right. Okay, Linda.
Chestertown was beautiful at Christmas. If you went down to the end of High Street and came up High Street with all the stores and all the trees and the lights wrapped around the trees and People's Bank, and it just looked like a winter wonderland. It really did. It really looked pretty at Christmas this year. I want to remind everybody that the farmer's market is still open and will be open through the winter. Our farmers are there outside in the pretty nice weather this weekend, but you know it's gonna get cold and icy, and they'll still be there on Saturday mornings. And First Friday, we had First Friday this year. Not everybody was open, but it was nice too. There were a lot of people downtown, and I'd just like to tell people, and I mentioned Pam Foss a little earlier, Pam is making 3 life-size Saint Bernard dogs that will go to Ohio State University at the veterinary school. So if anybody goes down and visits her, she's finished the face on one of the Bernards, and she just captures the image of the dog so well. So these were commissioned, and they'll be done in bronze, and I think she said she has to have them finished by the end of March to send them to New York to be bronze. So just stop by. We don't have anything in Chestertown like it, so stop by and see her. And
So she's making the molds?
she makes them out of clay,
Right.
and then they'll be bronze,
Mhm.
and, they're life-size.
Mhm.
So,
Big.
you really, it's so impressive, so, yep, that's mine.
Okay, Sam?
So we are getting ever closer to the launch of the new website. It's going to be ready by January 15th, so you can go ahead and log on and check it out then. We will also be having a launch party on first Friday in February, which is going to be the 6th. We're going to be hosting it at Masoni's Gallery right downtown. And just a really nice, fun event, so we can really get into detail with all the changes that we've made.
What time is that, like 5 o'clock?
TBD.
Yeah.
But I highly encourage you all to come out and attend, just so you can learn a little bit more about all the new features that the website has. But I definitely want to get you all very excited about this, because it's really going to be a revolutionary change. So, another thing,
Out of curiosity, why is the website launch at Masoni Gallery?
pardon?
Why is it at Masoni
The
Gallery?
launch party?
It's
Well,
a nice space.
right, you know, it's a nice space, it captures, you'll see one of our catchphrases right on the homepage, where arts and education and things like that kind of collide. So it kind of captures the essence of that catchphrase that I figure. Another thing that I noticed just walking downtown, the state of the, I guess, stormwater drains right at the foot of High Street. Do we have plans on fixing that area up and slowing that water down? Because right next to Wide Hall, it looks like the pipes just open up right there and it just goes straight into the Chestnut River.
It does.
Any,
It absolutely does go right in Chester River.
Right. So I was
You
just,
sent me photographs of the catch basins, and we have started work there.
okay,
The timetable is when weather dependent,
right.
but I think it started with grates being facing the wrong way.
So it started off with protecting the bicyclists so their tires don't get caught. But,
And we are gonna redesign it in front of Carrie Shriver's house, because leaves would just rock it right in there and then stop. A few years ago, when we dug up that hole, when we redid the foot of High Street, we dug up all that pipe and it was completely chocked with leaves that had to move. So it's a maintenance item, but also it's, I think we're gonna design different type of catch basin.
okay.
And it rockets down both sides of the road.
Because I was thinking maybe like a mini step pool.
Well, the problem with that is there is a lot of water, and we cannot afford to back it up into downtown. It's a larger, it would take a larger solution.
Right, right.
Once you get flooding up there on all the high moons.
You really have to have it start way up there.
Yeah, but I mean, these are kind of solutions for the future, because they're cost millions. Because all along there, you have every sewer line of every resident and every business at about the same level that a storm drain pipe should be at. And storm drain's not the only new solution, but I think that was what we talked about in the, what Chris read in the State of the Town address, looking for new solutions. But if we stop the water there, then we're gonna regret it one block away.
Right.
You need to be careful when you walk, when it's a lot of water, because the lids blow off the wind,
But,
Oh, I know.
well,
or the, what is
the back,
The mains, yeah,
the back
the-
pressure.
so be careful.
But it is something we're aware of, and we're gonna correct it for a couple of problems. One is that bicycle safety is number one. If they run the same way as a bike tire would, you can get severe injury.
And then next week, I'm going to be coming to you all with plans for a new marketing committee. You know, with what Liz presented about arts in Chestertown or
Arts.
Chestertown? Okay. Those are going to be the conversations that we're going to have on a very regular basis when it comes to actually promoting Chestertown. And a lot of that also will revolve around financing for different marketing campaigns and things like that. short-term solution is really just beefing up our Facebook marketing, launching campaigns via Facebook just to increase our exposure. Is something that can be done relatively inexpensively, but once we start digging a little bit deeper and coming up with some grander projects, of course, the pricing is gonna escalate. So I'll come to the next meeting with proposals on how that marketing committee is gonna look like, who is going to be on that committee, what some of our actual plans are gonna be moving forward, and then preliminary financing options for the committee as well, because we will need some resources to actually work with. So I'll go ahead and get that drafted. I'll shoot you an email a few days before the meeting, so you have a chance to take a look at it, and then we have to have some serious talks in the future about getting that off the ground.
Well, if we go ahead with the A&E destination and get it, and we hire a part-time economic development person on staff, then that will help a lot with
It
marketing.
will help a lot, and, you know, that person wouldn't have to have a seat on the committee, but it's definitely something that they won't be able to do alone. And the more expertise that they have to kind of work with, the better ultimately our campaigns will be, so. That's it, that's it.
Marty?
First, Happy New Year, everybody. You all right, New Year? Yeah, I'm often asked, just what do you guys do? I'm gonna have 100 copies of this made today. We had a very busy year, and we know that here on the council. The town's worked very hard, but sometimes people don't realize just what does go on here. Fourth Ward residents and residents in general are really looking forward to us opening our 2 grocery stores. Not only do I think we'll have a little more competition, maybe we'll have better prices, but we certainly ought to have competition for service, all those things that should make my wife happy, because I have to listen to her every week when she comes home from the grocery store.
As do I.
And I would like to thank the PAC at the dog park. I don't know who they are, it's anonymous, but I had a package delivered to me last week. I think Liz asked me to open it, and I said, I'm not gonna open it here, I don't know what it might be in it, but it was a cup of a dog, so I thought it was very nice of them to present that, whoever they may be, and I'll keep it here and drink my coffee. And lastly, I'm wearing my purple tie again. I normally don't wear the same tie 2 times in a row, but I'm going to continue to wear this thing if the Ravens continue to win. I really thought last time I better get it worn if I bought it, because they weren't playing that well, but they certainly played well on Saturday, and I'm looking for them to beat the Patriots and get to the Super Bowl. So you may be seeing me in a purple tie, the same purple tie. I can't afford to buy another one. And for the next 3 weeks. And that's about it.
That's so much.
Moving along, there were no requests for the public to be on the agenda. Are there any questions or comments from the audience?
If nobody says anything, the Playscape, I'm accumulating letters from the residents around Walnut Park, and I read your response to Mr. Warner's email that gave 3 dates of a possible.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the schedule is.
So, yeah, I was just wondering.
Is the jury supposed to report to us at our next meeting?
It's,
Yeah, we should firm that up.
Maybe
There's a lot of people that
it's on email.
opposed to the project.
They met today.
When we figure out when they're gonna come to the meeting, can we post that on our website and send out an email to us?
Sure, I think
I don't know
nothing
anything.
about, I think that's part of the plan, but, why don't we have Case come in and report to us?
Yeah.
Put it on the TV. I think it's imminent, I really do. I think they're coming to our next meeting.
I do too. But if we confirm that, can you let us know so we can let
Yes.
everybody know?
I'll
Because people
tomorrow-
are getting
tomorrow.
nervous about it.
I understand there was some money, I know we're going to look for some construction money, but there was some money left over.
Not very much. I think it was like $7,000 or $8,000 to kind of.
And he's working on a
I'm
new.
gonna
Get it
remind you,
started.
not very much is $7,000 or $8,000 when I come to budget time and I'm looking for something.
Your park's already built
Yeah,
out. Your park's all dogged up. Your dogs are giving you presents. I mean, this couldn't be any better.
All right, any other comments, questions? All right, is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Opposed? We're adjourned, 8:40.